Hotel staff of Reddit, how often do you catch people nude in the halls and what's your best story? Been working 3 years as a night manager and it honestly only happened once. Knocked on a room where I suspected that a guest was smoking on the room. He opened the door completely nude and casual. I once worked in a hotel where the staff accommodation was a small house outside the back of the hotel, surrounded by 4 guest accommodation cottages. My friend and colleague had gone down to the hotel in the morning to make him and his partner breakfast. On the way back, carrying a mug of coffee in each hand and a plate of toast balanced on each mug, he passed a family of newly arrived guests unloading their car into their cottage. The cord tying his bath robe came loose and his gown came open, exposing all. With both hands full, he had no choice but nod, smile and say, "Morning," in the most cheery voice he could muster and walk on. Not sure what the parents made of this. I do feel sorry for the children though. I used to work as overnight auditor for a hotel. One day while I was doing rounds at 3 a.m., I thought I saw something moving at the opposite end of the hallway and I was like, did I just see a naked man? This poor guy was sleepwalking butt naked while hugging himself. Our hallways are freezing cold. I approached him closer and said, "Hello sir." He turned his head and said, "Hey." I was like, is he still asleep? 5 seconds later, I guess he realized what was going on. He said, "I'm so sorry." I gave him a robe from a nearby housekeeping closet, took him to the lobby to verify his identity. Obviously he doesn't have ID on him. I gave him a room key and followed him back to his room to make sure he doesn't sleep on his way back or whatever. One time housekeeping brought the front desk a bag of sex toys that were left behind. After 5 seconds of checking the system, I find that the guests are here for 2 more nights. Housekeeping ran back to put the bag where they found it before the guests came back. I used to work at Great Wolf Lodge. I'd catch people having sex in the hot tubs quite often. It was always awkward having to go tell them to stop. Not Wisconsin Dells location, this was Virginia. But I'm sure this happens at all of them. You have nothing to worry about, they keep up with the water quality very well, at least when I was there. No, you cannot get pregnant from swimming in a pool with jizz. Last week I had to shoo an amorous couple out from behind the dumpster. Our hotel has the worst smelling dumpster I've ever had the displeasure of experiencing. The thought of anything sexual going on back there is enough to make me gag. This was about 5 to 6 years ago, but I'll probably never forget it. A couple was fucking all morning in a room I was supposed to clean later on. You could hear them on the entire floor. After lunch, I see them leaving, both in business suits, both very classy, late 30s, both very attractive. I opened the door and the room was trashed as if a rock star from the 70s stayed there. Crushed crisps, spilled booze, the sofa, the bed, the bathroom were such a mess. Those usual 20 minutes they give you for cleaning would never be enough even for 3 people. They left a £40 tip on the table and a note saying, "Sorry." Finally one I can answer. I caught someone once. Well, I didn't have to catch them. They came to me. I worked night audit at a local hotel. One night, morning around 5 a.m. I was at the desk when the elevator started moving. At the time we didn't have cameras so I didn't know what to expect. When it stopped in the lobby the doors opened and I see a man with a cart looking slightly shocked. Then from the blind spot from where I was standing out stepped a man with a cigarette in hand and nothing but a small towel around his waist. He looked pissed. He stormed up to the desk and demanded a new room key. All while yelling about how he got lost in the confusing as fuck rooms. I confirmed his room best I could given the situation and sent him on his way. The poor man that was in the elevator with him looked like he saw more than I did and didn't want to talk about it. An hour later the man came down to the lobby to check out and demanded a full refund for embarrassing him and for not clearly labeling the balcony door and the hallway door. I laughed and told him to call my manager. Which he did later that day. Kicker is the room he was in had 2 doors. A bathroom door on one side of the room. And on the completely other side with a fire map, chain lock and deadbolt the room door. There was no balcony attached to his room. Had one dude full on nude walking about, but that was boring. Best was a guy who called down, said he was locked out of his room after sleepwalking. Go up, he's just in boxers. I let him in, then come down to check the cameras. Dude was straight wandering the halls, penis in hand, slowly stroking it whilst he knocked on doors, then comes back down the hallway, pees into a bin in front of the elevators and then calls down. You can even see the moment he wakes up he looks confused and lost. Was a good laugh. He got charged hazardous waste cleanup fee. Not my story, but my brother manages a nice hotel that happens to be near a red light district. One day, he gets this tourist who books a double room for a month, ideally as far away from the main entrance as possible. Guest checks in, and starting on the third day, there's this conga line of prostitutes coming in and out of the guy's room. By my brother's own count, the guy's personal record is 16 different women in a day. That's not the crazy part. One day, guest comes to front desk with a woman on each arm and asks my brother if he could book an Uber. Brother obliges and books the guest an Uber. Guest then tips with a prostitute. As in, full on offers the girl up to him and says, "You wanna have a go? I sincerely hope nobody ever takes a Blacklight to that room." Edit, to answer the important question, no, he did not partake. He was on shift and working front desk at the time. A guy somehow managed to lock himself out of his room naked and had to come to the front desk to get another key. The front desk is separated from the room since there are 5 buildings each with a certain number of rooms, and he was in the one furthest from the desk, so he had to walk naked across the property. The saving grace was that it was around midnight, so no one was around. Also, I was sitting down and the counter goes to around chest high, so I just thought he didn't have a shirt on until he was walking away, and I did a double take as I got a good look at his flabby ass. I was working morning shift one day and it was almost 3, so I'm getting ready to leave. The business center was right in front of the front desk, across the lobby. I'm counting money and I look up to see Big Booty Judy getting pounded out on one of the computers and a guest with his junk out, going to town. I was in shock. Right then my coworker walks in and sees him too. She said, "Sir, this is a family hotel. Get to your room, now. If you're reading this, thanks for handling that." I used to work security at a large casino resort, and we got a call at around 3 am one night about a naked and frantic woman running down the halls of one of our hotel towers. So we go up there and sure enough find a woman bawling her eyes out, completely nude. We got her a towel from the linen closet so she at least had something to cover up, and then she calmed down to tell us she had met a guy on the casino floor and went up to his room and he attempted to rape her and got all her clothes off and scratched her up pretty good, but she fought like hell and got out of the room. Needless to say, the cops came and the guy was dragged out and justice was served. Oh, he had a black eye when we got him out of the room too. She whooped his ass. Not a worker, but one time we had a bachelor party and rented a hotel for about 10 of us. One of our buddies got shit-faced before it even got dark, and we took him back to the hotel because he wasn't about to get in anywhere and kept complaining about being ready to go back. We dropped him off and proceeded to go on with our night. An hour or two later, the hotel called one of our buddies whose name was on the room and told us we needed to get back because our buddy was laying in the hall outside our room naked. I'm not sure what happened, but he lost the room key and for whatever reason decided to get naked so he could go to sleep. The room key was in his pocket.